get on your screen, a little thing that says recording. You're gonna get a thing that says going live and streaming. And as we do go live, as we get started with this week's wealth principle, which is, by the way, wealth principle 37, how you do anything is how you do everything. This is an income generating principle. This is not so focused on net worth as it is focused on increasing income. So for those who are new, congratulations, you made it to the 52 weeks of wealth. For those who are not new, who've been here for a long time, welcome back, alchemists. This is the 52 Weeks to Wealth. My name is Walter Amarillo, and we've been on this journey, many of you, for the last 39 weeks, building one principle on top of the other. The idea is to double your income, double your net worth. Show of hands if you still agree. That's why you're here. You like more money in your life because it brings more financial freedom, brings more opportunities. In fact, there's only three reasons people show up in Alchemist Nation. The first is they want legacy wealth. The second one is financial freedom. And the third is they want to help more people get more net worth and more financial freedom. So give yourselves a round of applause for showing up. This idea of legacy wealth, this idea of increasing income is not new. In fact, I was on a phone with somebody yesterday who was a multiple six-figure earner. And we were just talking about like goals and strategies. And this dude is a champion at what he does. And I was like, bro, what are your goals? What do you want? And you know what he said? And I got to tell Gary, I meant to tell Gary this, the same thing everybody else has ever said to me when I jump on a call with them. They say, man, I want financial freedom. I was like, cool. What's financial freedom look like? And he was like, bro, $10,000 a month of passive income. Look at Gary's head. Every single person I have interviewed is 99% of the time, they're like $10,000 a month passive income, unless it's Ryan James, in which case they're like, I want to make $40,000 a month of passive income. It's like, Ryan, cool your jets. Like, yes, you are unique in the sense that you've done a lot more. Larry Steinhaus was the same exact way. He's like, I want to make, $40,000, $50,000 a month. I want to make $1 million a month passive income. It's like, yes, we'll get there one day. But most people who are in this community are looking for 10,000 passive income. It's kind of the first step. Why is that important to you? Well, because if everybody around you is doing a thing and they're doing it with the same mindset, then there's a good chance that somebody's going to nail it. And you're going to be able to learn a different strategy for how to do it yourself. And if you get around 5 or 10 different people who have all nailed it, but they did it 10 different ways, it starts showing you that it's possible to do it more than one way. Show fans if you agree, there's a lot of ways to get to $10,000 passive income. There's a lot of strategies that work. There's a lot of things that do it. And so we're going to talk about some of those today. And also, we're going to talk about the 3 steps in order to improve your life through small habits. So, 3 keystone habits, 3 steps that are absolutely necessary for us to leverage up. But before I do, I want to talk about a person who is a really good friend of mine who struggled with this principle and struggled for years, not because they didn't know it, but because they couldn't embrace it. Not because they didn't understand that habits were everything, not that they didn't understand that how you did everything could lead, how you do anything leads to everything. It's because they just didn't believe in themselves enough to apply the goal. And this person's my dad. So my dad is, really important to me. He's somebody who was there my whole life. He would always tell me, son, make your bed. Make your bed in the morning because if you win at that, if you do good there, then it's going to lead into other things. And my dad makes his bed every morning. Now, I also make my bed on some mornings, but I found out that making your bed in the morning is not a key to success. So some habit. My dad makes his bed every single morning. He's always, pin drop. I didn't do that. And I became financially free at 30, a millionaire by 32, and a multimillionaire by 34. So a lot of the habits we believe are that will make us successful are not actually the habits that make us successful. I want to just state that before we get started into this. There's a lot of stuff you believe will make you successful that isn't quite true. Making your bed being one of them. It does not matter if you make your bed. Now, it does feel good when you come back to your bed. Ron Bowling told me something a while back. He said, I make my bed not for present Ron. I make my bed for future Ron. I do it so that when future Ron gets there, he says, past Ron really thought about me. Past Ron really cares about me. So the story of my dad, he used to tell me to make my bed. And then my dad used to tell me you should invest in real estate. And my dad used to tell me that you should work hard and that money didn't grow on trees and that if you're good and you treat people well, they'll treat you well. And that if you work hard enough and you buy enough real estate and you help enough people get what they want, you'll eventually be able to get what you want. My dad's a big fan of Zig Ziglar and Jim Rohn and all of these wonderful authors and speakers, and yet didn't follow the principles all the way in money. In fact, hasn't really followed all the principles all the way in his health. And Dad, love you. But we know you could spend a little more time at the gym. We know that we could let some of the bread go at night. And knowing the principles isn't enough. Show fans, if you've seen that in your own life, you know a lot of these things. You know a lot of these core principles. So I want to re-look at this whole principle. This how you do anything is how you do everything. I want to look at this from a new space. Please, when your mind says, "Oh, I know that already," dismiss your mind. Just put your mind on the side for a little bit and run through the principle as if you didn't know it. Look at this principle as if it was the first time you'd ever looked at the idea of increasing your income, looked at it with an energetic path. There are three components to life. This is how we have to start. The first is health. The second one is relationships. And the third final one is money. Now, you could be really good at money and have no health and have no relationships. Show of hands if we've seen those people. We understand that they exist. You could be really good at health and have no money. You could be really good in relationships, have the greatest relationships. I know a lot of people are like, oh my God, but I have family. But they're unhealthy, they're going to die early, and they have no money, so they can't afford to take care of their family. Show of hands if we've seen all of these. All three of these can exist. So you can be really, really good at one, but weak in two and still not live a quality life. We call that not living in wealth. True wealth would be great health, great relationships, and a lot of money so that you can do the things that you want to do, the impact you like to create in the world. So my father, although wasn't able to quite apply all of these correctly, he did apply a few very, very well. And one of the principles that my dad did apply very well is when you're at a task, be all in on that task. When you're there doing a thing, you spend all your time doing it. So when my dad's in my presence, while I'm in his presence, is really what I'm blessed to be in his presence, I feel like there's nobody else in the room. I truly feel it. My dad lives in the moment. If I want to do a thing, he's like, sure, let's go do it, son. Let's spend this time together. Let's go do this. Let's go. Anything I say, my dad's like, yeah, let's go. So in the moment, I am his world. And in his health, what I've noticed with my dad is if he is working out, if he is doing something, he will work out harder than anybody around and he will make sure he stays within his range of capacity. But also, if he's working out with me, he'll push himself to that next level. He'll be super present and be able to push himself to another level. I've noticed with my dad when it comes to money, my dad does not spend beyond what he's supposed to spend, and my dad will not clock out until he's done everything on task that he said he would do before he clocks out. So even if he doesn't get paid overtime, he will stay until the job is done. So in the moment, my dad lives very, very present. He lives in that moment, and that's a skill, that's a gift that I took away from him. So I want to share that one with each of you. Is in the moment, be your very best, the best capacity that you can, whether you're in a relationship with a person, whether it's a business relationship, it's a personal relationship. I want you to be 100% present in that space. Presence is important. Same with your money situation. When you're making a money decision, be present in what you're going to pay for in the future. Everything you spend, you're going to get an investment on that. You're going to get a return on investment. If you buy Coca-Cola, you're going to get rotted teeth. Right? If you go and you buy a stock, you're going to get potentially a return on investment. If you buy a piece of real estate, you're going to have tenants, toilets, headaches, and cash flow. They come with both. Also, with the Coke, you'll get that wonderful taste of Coke. So there's positives and negatives to every transaction, every decision that you make. So as we're going into this principle, think of the health and wealth, and I want you to start attaching them to your money. The health and relationships, I want you to start attaching them to money. You have a limited amount of relationships you can have, so it's important to have good habits around the ones you do. You also have a limited amount of relationships that you can have, so it's important to choose the relationships that you have very intentionally. So there are three components I mentioned at the very beginning. The first is consistency in daily habits. The second one is attention to detail in all things. And the third one is proactive learning and growth. If we can proactively learn and grow through all of our attention to detail and our daily habits, we're slowly going to increase and improve at a micro level, which will eventually be how you're built. Watching my son develop is amazing. Who here has children? Show of hands if you get children or have seen children. You know what they are. Who here has been a child at some point? We know what they look like. We know what that's like. So it all starts with one cell and then another cell come together, right? So my cell went, attacked her cell and was like, yeah, now you're going to be one of us. And they started multiplying and the cells started scaling up. Now, my son, I just got him weighed yesterday, is 13 pounds. He was born 8 pounds. 8 pounds, 1 ounce. And then he lost ounces for about a week. He lost ounces. And then he started gaining ounces back and then just started stacking on pounds because dude's a little Amarillo. He's just stacking up wealth in his body. And 13 pounds. Now I feel the curl of that man. Like he's not the same weight he was, but he's not doing it in large amounts. I look at how much milk he drinks. It's little 2 ounces at a time. And it's just milk. If you boiled it, there's very little actual sustenance there. It's mostly just hydration. So how is it that he's able to stack on almost a pound every 2 to 3 weeks? It's consistency. It's consistently putting nutrients inside of his body. And each of you have the same capacity with the knowledge we take in on Saturdays. Saturday mornings, we get together, we spend this time investing inside of our brains, putting this little habit of, I'm going to go take action. Today, by the way, we'll do an action step. If you're new, we're going to do an action step today that you can apply into your life so you can increase income. And we're going to do a little guided meditation, which yesterday I was actually told by a therapist. She said, she's actually on the call here with her boyfriend, fiance. She's on the call here. He said, I love the guided meditations because that is what people really need to become more successful is that mindset, passively going into their brain so they can go and do more stuff. And I just loved that she, a professional, knew and appreciate what we do here because some people hear the mindset side and the hypnosis side or the guided meditation side, and they're like, oh, yeah, no, I'm not interested. And they log off. But for those of you who go through the guided meditations and have those benefits, you are living a little bit faster, a little bit better. So it's a very cool process to follow the habits of implanting the right things into your head. Who here has watched a movie and then afterwards been fearful of a scary movie and been fearful of those things in their lives? Has anybody watched the movie and then afterwards like been watching for it? Show of hands if you watched for it and it didn't happen anyway, but you had the moments of fear, right? You had to experience those moments of fear. So we have a rule in the house. We don't watch things that are going to scare us. We watch things that are going to educate us, things that are going to prepare us, things that are going to engage our minds so that we can be better prepared. Yeah, Jaws being one of them. I can't swim now, right? I can't swim in the ocean because I am deathly afraid of sharks. That's not necessarily a bad fear to have because they are out there in the ocean. Here in Florida, they do come up on the waters. So number one, principle number one of this is consistent daily habits. And in your relationship, a consistent daily habit could be a smile to another human being. It could be a text to another human. It's sales, which by the way, show of hands if we're all in sales. Each one of you is in some form of sales. If you're a capital raiser, if you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, you are in some sort of sales. If you're a multifamily investor, you're constantly acquiring either property, tenants, or capital. So we're all in some level of sales. Here's a base habit that will increase your income is call 10 people. Call 10 people you haven't spoken to in 30 days every single day. Every single day. And let me make this simpler for some of you. Text 10 people who you have a relationship with that you haven't spoken to in 30 days. Every single day. 10 people every single day. And the reason that's a really relevant, hmm, don't text people who you don't like. Let me clarify this. The quality of the people you text will dictate the quality outcome you receive in your life. So your texting of people should be players who are going somewhere, people who have a desire to be involved with your life in the business world and in the personal world, and people who recharge you, who you feel way better spending time with. So 10 people, and ideally, if you're really looking for money, 10 people who have the problem you solve every day, who you haven't spoken to in the last 30 days. In health, if you do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, or like Michael Shine does, you go doing 200 push-ups a day, you're going to have a result that comes out years from now. In fact, Michael Shine, I work out every day, but Mike the other day just dropped and started doing 50 push-ups. So I dropped and started doing 50 push-ups. Michael's 60 years old, almost 60 years old, and his push-ups are faster than mine. And I was having a hard time reconciling because I know I can push more weight, but because he's got more practice in doing push-ups efficiently, his 50 were faster than mine. Show of hands if his habit of doing 200 push-ups every day has had a impact on him. Now, when he first started, he was doing 100 push-ups every day. And when he first started, he was struggling to do 20 at a time. Now, Michael does 50 at a time because that's his base. That's just what he's been able to work himself up to. So it's health, relationships, now business. Sorry, in relationships, smile, say something nice to somebody, but in In the business side, this is the one for each of you is contact 10 people who have the most likelihood to move you forward. If you're a real estate investor, multifamily investor, it's property managers. Property managers have the asset, they have the relationships, they know who has what you're looking for, more property, more capital. And they know who's struggling, who might still at a discount, and they know what the market is, they know what the rents are, they know everything that you would need to know because they are the operator of the asset that you want to buy. Show of hands if that makes sense. Excellent. Yes, Roland Charles is on. He's like, yes, call property managers. He's a property manager, and he's on the national community of property managers. We'll talk about that at the end, Charles. Roland, sorry. And we're gonna move into number two, the second habit. And I want you, by the way, to write these action steps down to do them. The first one I want you to do is just send a text to a person who has said they want your service and just follow up with them. In fact, we did that with the mastermind this week. This week, we jumped the price from 6,000 to 10,000. And I asked all my friends, all my team, everybody in the community, I was like, hey, guys, just text everybody and let them know the price change. That's all I want you to do is just reach out and say, bro, like price is going up. I know we've been on the fence. I know you've been thinking about it. Just here's the price change. And because of that, we've had 6 people jump into the mastermind who wanted to jump in anyway, but were just kind of waiting, just kind of, like mulling it around. And just in the last 5 days, we've had 6 people jump into the program that's going to change their lives. So, fans, if you could have the same result, if you just texted a person who said they were interested to say, hey, by the way, just checking in, don't say the word checking in. Hey, are you jumping in today? Are you ready to get started? Let's jump on a call. Any one of those would be better than checking in. I hate when people do the checking in thing. Number two, attention to detail in all transactions. Now, in real estate transactions, attention to detail will either be the difference between you walking away from the closing with money or you having to pay money, or even worse, not closing on a property. Over the last 5 years, let's call it 3 years, who here knows people who became millionaires in the last 3 years just from buying real estate? Should be everybody on here, right? Who here in the last 5 years knows somebody who became a multimillionaire just from buying multifamily real estate? Knows somebody who became a multimillionaire, stacked up multi-millions just from buying real estate. The worst thing that could happen, this second habit, attention to detail in your real estate transactions, is you could not close. The worst thing that can happen in real estate is you don't close on the deal. Because we know that if you just close on enough cash flowing rental properties, enough multifamilies, you will be financially free. True or true? Show of hands if that's true for you. If you buy enough, and I'll go expand it beyond because I know some of you on this call are not interested in multifamily investment today. Some of you are business investors and you're buying cash flowing assets. So let me phrase this differently. Cash flowing assets, when you acquire them, if you acquired enough cash flowing assets, you'd reach the financial freedom goals that you have. True or true? Cash flowing assets. We just acquire cash flowing assets. I love that. So this year's Business and Real Estate Summit, by the way, is October 18th to the 20th. We're going to focus on cash flowing assets. We're also going to focus on increasing income. So if you're not at 6 figures, we're focusing on 6 figures. If you're not at a 250,000, we're focusing on the 250,000. If you're not at the 500,000, we're focusing on the 500,000. If you're not at the million, we're focusing on the million. Now, if you're under 6 figures, you're not focusing on the million this year. Show of hands if that makes sense. Right. We want to double your income. That's the main focus of the summit this year. So if you haven't already got your tickets, please get them. Dorina was supposed to bring me lanyards and stuff. So I normally would tell you about the VIP and all of that. So I'm going to wait until she either brings it to me or I'm just going to figure it out towards the end. But show of hands if you'd like to hear more about the speakers at the summit this year. If you'd like to find out who's going to be there, what's going to be like. All right, we'll talk about that at the end. Attention to detail. Here are 3 things that could go wrong inside a business transaction with real estate. The first is you don't raise all the capital. This is probably the worst thing that could happen when you come down to a closing is you don't raise all the capital and then you wouldn't be able to close. In that case, attention to detail, watching the timelines, reaching back out to the lender, reaching back out to the attorney, and reaching back out to the seller themselves and saying, hey, look, we're not going to hit our deadline. How can you help us? Here's where our gap was on the raise. I can't say it's 9 out of 10 times, but I'll say 50% of the time, the seller will come back and say, dude, if you're only missing, let's call it 10% of the closing costs, I'll cover it. No problem. I'll do seller financing. A lot of times they'll say, well, I can bring that. What if I brought that extra 100,000, extra 200,000 to be able to get you? to the closing table faster this month instead of having to do another extension. So fans, we acknowledge sellers want to sell in the month they said they were going to sell, right? They don't want to go a little bit longer. The second one is renovation costs. If you mess up your capital raise on renovation costs and you think it's gonna be 200,000, it ends up being 500,000. Now you end up in a stabilization period that takes 3 to 5 years when your stabilization period could have been significantly shorter, maybe 6 months to a year. And you don't have all the renovation money, so you end up making compromises for years and years and years and years. And by the way, this isn't just in real estate, this happens in business. People don't start the business with enough marketing budget. People don't start the business with enough salary to be able to pay their sales managers or sales teams. I know this one personally. I didn't fund the business with the sales manager in place, so now I have to be the sales manager, which, by the way, you're welcome. Everybody on the sales team, you're still getting me personally. And the third one is so that's attention to detail in the close, in bringing the capital and in bringing the money to close as far as knowing the renovations. The third one is the team in place. Not having the right property manager in place at the closing or not having the right person in place to manage it could screw your deal up hardcore. It's not about the deal, it's about the people you work with that make the deal great. And it's going to be the same thing in your business. You hire the wrong person, and your business is going to be out of control, just spending money, just like a sieve, just money coming out and you not knowing why. You put in the right person. I got to tell you, like Gary Aker has been the right person to put into Alchemist Nation as operations because since he's been in, we've seen an increase of attendees coming to our events. We've seen an increase of happy leaders, like leadership training. We've seen an increase in sales. We've seen an increase in quality of our mission, the impact that we're having, the quality of the leaders just improving. And then I would say our meetings are just more fun because we feel like we're making progress because we're all highly functioning, like high success driven people. So when we're getting things done, we're like, oh my God, another thing accomplished. So let's give Gary Aker a big round of applause for all the work he does behind the scenes. So your team. The third one is the team. Attention to detail in the hiring process. And I'll go if there was a fourth one or a 3A to the hiring process, attention to detail in your communication with your team, attention to detail in the communication with your relationships with your clients, the people who are working with you, because those relationships are what scales your business. If you and your property manager don't like feel good about what you're doing, eventually you're going to fire them. And then you're going to have this big transition. We just had a transition. Me and Ron have had many transitions. And me and Greg just went through a transition and it sucks. And the same thing can happen in your business. You put the wrong person in place, wrong manager, and the culture goes all the way down. Me and Melanie are looking at her 110 employees. And I had to tell her yesterday, I said, look, you got a lot of B players. You know what she said to me? She said, no, the problem is I have a lot of C players. I wish I had Bs because Bs would be a lot better. And we had a conversation around cost of an A player and a B player and a C player. And she was like, well, I can't afford to have A players. And I said, you can't afford not to have them. I wish I said that. That's what I was thinking in my head. But I wish I'd said, you can't afford not to have them. But what I said was, you can get an A player who comes in at the dollar range that you can afford, but they'll come in because of the culture, because there's a growth opportunity for them, because they know that they can get to that next management level. And she came up with tiers of management training programs for a person to be a sandwich artist. She owns Subways. Then a person to become a team leader. Then a person to become a store manager. Then a person to become a district manager. She didn't have that role before. Now she's got that role. Now she's got a few store managers who are going into 3 stores. And she's like, yeah, I've got these store managers doing 3 stores. I was like, you need to give them a title. Those aren't store managers anymore. Those are district managers. Those are managers who are running a group. Now you've got an ascension ladder that these A players can ascend to, that can move up. So, fans, if that makes sense. If you're not hiring yet, that's why you're not growing. If you're at the point where you've capped out your income, we're going to talk a lot about this at the summit. The VIPs, we're going to talk a lot about leadership, scaling, hiring. If you want to make a lot of money this year, you do need a sales team for sure. If you want to make more than $250,000, you need a sales team. That's where like the $250,000 is about the max a human can do. If you're making less than $100,000, I'm going to say it's a work ethic issue. It's just not doing enough of the right thing. Possibly a system issue. It could be a system issue. But if you're at the $250,000, you just can't seem to get past that, more likely it's a hiring issue. More likely it's a staff issue. It's a culture issue. If it's a person issue, it's usually a culture issue because it's all starts from the top down. Show of hands if that's valuable. We understand we got to improve some things this year. At the summit, we're going to talk a lot more, especially for our VIPs. We're going to talk more about leadership. We're going to do a whole extra leadership day. It's actually going to be on the 17th. So all of our VIPs come in one day earlier and they hang out with me and Gary, and we're going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about scaling. We're going to talk about getting to that next level and how to hire the right people, what the cultures of a good, great company are. And it'll be a lot of fun for all of our VIPs. Number three, proactive learning and growth. The word proactive is the opposite. Think of it as the antithesis of reactive. So reactive would be something happens and then you learn from it. That's by the way, there's nothing wrong with failure. I love learning from failure because if failure is going to happen, walk away from it with something. But proactive learning and growth means we prevent failures from occurring. That doesn't mean we don't take action because we're going to take action regardless. There's a time for action. We got to take it no matter what. Let me be very clear. You must live in the moment. You must take actions. But if you've done enough proactive learning, your actions will be better. So, fans, if we grasp this, I'll give you an example of it. You know you got a really powerful meeting tomorrow. You know you're going to sit down with a person who's got $1 million of equity in their property. They're going to give it to you. It's a $5 million property. They're selling it for $4 million. It's got to be seller financing, but you don't quite remember the types of financing options there are. You don't quite remember how to communicate with a person so you can win friends and influence people. And you're going into this conversation and something in your mind says, man, I'm not prepared for this. Instead of sitting down on the couch, popping a bag of chips, and watching your favorite Netflix show, a proactive grower, a proactive learner goes and grabs How to Win Friends and Influence People, hits it on Audible, and starts listening to that. Maybe stays up the extra 2 or 3 hours to make sure that they're prepared for tomorrow's meeting. Make sure that they've gone and read the 27 ways to creative finance, any kind of real estate deal. Which, by the way, if you are interested, I will be teaching that this Wednesday. So if you're interested in 27 ways to finance any real estate deal, creative financing with no money down, that is this Wednesday. Workwithinvestors.com is the link. And I forgot to grab that, but somebody on the team will drop it into the chat. I'm dropping it into the chat right now. Here we go. So I'll be teaching, oh man, that's not the right one. I'll be teaching the 27 ways to buy houses with no money down, creative financing. Show of hands if that's something you'd like to learn. So I'll be doing that on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the reason is a lot of the community members ask me to do it. If you go to the page and you have a security issue, just click past it. I promise you're not going to get any bugs when you go to the page. Go through it, click through Wednesday at 5. Going back to the principle itself. And for everybody who's just jumping in, this is Wealth Principle 39. How you do anything is how you do everything. We're talking about how to increase income, how to make more money this year. Six-figure earners, we're talking about how to get to the quarter million earners. We're talking about how to get to the half million earners. We're talking about how to get to the million. Proactive learning and growth is when you know for sure an opportunity is coming and you want to prepare for it. It is not an excuse. This is the dangerous word that I can't stand when people use it. It's not an excuse for analysis paralysis. It's not an excuse for you to say, well, I can't, you don't extend the timeline, right? You still jump into the activity. You don't extend the timeline because, well, I'm not prepared yet. I'm not ready. I got to push this out. Don't push it out. Don't push out the test. Don't push out the call. Don't push out the opportunity. Push inward the capacity to take it on. Push inward the ability to show up better. Push inward into yourself the ability to step up for the moment. Maybe because you waited to the last minute, you lose some sleep. Cool. Excellent. Drink an extra coffee in the morning. Go to the gym a little early. But show up to the opportunity. If you're missing out on opportunities, it's probably because you're either not scheduling them. Write this down. It's really important. You're either not scheduling them or you're delaying them. You're pushing them into the future. Be more prepared. And if you're scheduling them and you're not delaying them and you're showing up and you're not winning, it's because you're not proactively prepared. You're not proactively educating yourself to the point where you could be prepared, or you're not learning from the failure itself. So if I could give a fourth habit, which I didn't have prepared today, but the fourth habit I would say is learn from every failure. But show of hands, if you already knew that one, that was like, yeah, I knew it. Or I said at the beginning of the call, you don't know anything. Just pretend like you don't know anything. Pretend like this is a brand new principle and go into it with a whole new heart and a whole new mindset around increasing income. Because if you haven't earned the income that you want this year, and if it isn't coming from the way you want it, if it's not coming passively, there is something you don't know. There is something that you haven't done. So, fans, if that's okay, because we can change. We can go back and we can look at these principles and start implementing habits that allow us to have more in our lives. There is something we do every week. It's called the book of the week. And the reason we do the book of the week is so that you can get a little deeper into this. Now, as you read this book, Scott's already got the book up. Awesome. As you read this book and you go through this wealth principle this week, what I want you to think about is increasing income the entire time. So before we do that, write down a number on your paper. This is the income that you know for sure you can make. And then I want you to add 20% to it so you can get an increased number. I want you to take the number you know for sure you can make. This is the certainty number. For some of you who are earning 70,000 a year, you do not write down $1 million, right? That is not the number. If you're earning 70, if you've been earning 70, I want you to write 70. That's the number you know for sure. And I want you to increase it by 20%. If it's under six figures, here's the caveat. If it's under six figures, I want you to go to six figures. No matter what your income number is. If you're under six figures, if you're at 70, if you're at 20, I want you to go to six. I want you to go to the 100 because 100,000 is just a work ethic issue. That's all it is. It may be systems, but it's mostly a work ethic issue. So fans, we grasp that. All right. So if you're under the six, just six is standard. And then if you're over the six, add 20%, add 40%, add 50%, but don't quite just double it just yet for this particular exercise. Now I want you to start working towards what would it take to get there? Little chunky habits, little chunks. How many calls is it? What type of call is it? What kind of conversation you have with the type of person that you're on that call with? So, fans, that makes sense. We got this? Awesome. Excellent. Well, in that case, every week we have a book of the week. The reason we have book of the week is because the average CEO, the average millionaire reads 50 to 60 books a year. And so the average person, which we don't like average because average people end up being fat, they end up being unhappy, they end up being depressed, they end up dying at 78 years old because that is average in this country and we don't want to live average. Average person ends up being depressed or divorced, so it's not a good state. We want to be above average. We want to live a little longer. Some of you may want to live to 80, 90, 100. No, Mike Shine says 150 years old. Some of you may want to live very healthy in those final years. Some of you may want to stay married the entire time, stay positive the entire time. Some of you want to cash flow. By the way, average income in America is between 55 and 75,000. So some of you want to earn above average, way above average in many cases, because you have better quality of life. So the average person only reads one book a year, and they normally don't finish it. So if you're reading 52 books a year, that gives you a 52 to 1 advantage. And if you're reading books that are about health, wealth, relationships, business, real estate, then there's a good chance that your knowledge base, your proactive growth and learning will be able to allow you to get to where you want to go a little bit faster. Show of hands if you don't mind unfair advantages, make you a little above average. Awesome. By the way, I love average people. They make up tenants. They pay us. They're very important. We love our average people. They're how the economy works. I want to be very clear with my disclaimer that average people are how the economy exists. You want to be above average because the average person needs a job. Show of hands if that's true. Average person needs a job. Well, you are an employer. So you love average people too. And remember, there's nothing wrong with them unless they're not working for you, in which case they should work a little bit harder and they should earn their money. And I love good people working hard to earn good money. Michael Shine, without further ado, is the keeper of the books. He's a holistic attorney. He's the closer. Michael Shine, give us this week's book of the week. Let's give a big round of applause.
Yay! Thanks, Walter. This week's book is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, which is right here. This is a great book. It's funny, I always get this book mixed up with another book, Atomic Habits, because they have similar concepts. But I was thinking about this review today, and usually, because I've been doing this for 5 years, so we've talked about this book for 5 years, but I usually talk about the three friends, Larry, Scott, and Brad, who are in the first chapter. And they're all the same, very similar people, but then one starts taking like small positive habits, like he decides to cut 125 calories a day. So it's a little teeny habit, 125 calories. But one of the other guys, Brad, he goes out and gets himself a big screen TV so he can watch more TV. And that doesn't sound like major at all. But what struck me, but after 5 months of doing this, the guy that's cutting 125 calories is losing major weight, while the poor Brad is sitting there catching up on his shows, is gaining weight. And but they're it's the compound effect. They're just little teeny habits. And what I thought about today for this review is that um, when Walter says some things, he's like, if you could just get a few more assets, you could be a millionaire. And I feel like sometimes people hear that and they're like, shit, that's major. I got to find big money and I got to get a bank and I got to find the property and interest rates are high and costs are high and all that stuff. So it can be a little bit overwhelming. And what I love about this book is that you don't have to, as they say, eat the elephant one bite to eat the whole elephant. You can take little teeny chunks. It's killing me as a vegan to say eat an elephant, but okay. Um, but my point is, you can do the little things. Like if you're a realtor, maybe it's like my goal is to get 100 new clients this year. And that can be overwhelming for people. But what if it was just to make 5 calls a day? That was it. My new habit is to just make 5 calls a day. And you think about that, if you start doing the math, how many calls does that make over a year if you did 5 extra calls a day? So what I love about this book is he says you don't have to do these major, major things. Just start changing the small habits. And I also wanted to talk about, like, one of the pages he talks about is 5 strategies for eliminating bad habits. So he goes through things. They're simple. Identify your triggers. It's not so hard. If you're hanging around with a bunch of broke friends, get rid of your broke friends. That's actually, you're doing less. You're not calling them, right? And then he says, clean your house. This is what you're talking about with your dad. Maybe make your place more feng shui. If any of you have ever been to Walter's house, it is like the ultimate in feng shui. He has like money, prop money and coins and things everywhere, all over the place. And it just gives you, when I walk into his townhouse, you're like, oh my God, I'm so motivated to do everything. Because he's got big whiteboards on the wall that say, I'm going to meet with Gary Aker and we're going to get 100 new customers or something like that. I don't know. It's just right there. It hits you right in the face. It's so awesome. Um,
I got some things, Mike. I got this new one I've been putting out. I advance all. I am advancing 100 times 10 equals 1,000. It continues on and on. I love that.
So maybe the little teeny compound effect habit is to just get a whiteboard. Maybe it's just to go to Staples or order it on Amazon. And maybe if you had a whiteboard, maybe the next step is just hang it on a wall somewhere. And that's a little teeny habit. And then you start doing all these little teeny habits and they add up. And the next thing you know, you own 10 properties and you're like, how the hell did this happen? I mean, that's the concept of the compound effect. It's such a great book. It gets you motivated because it doesn't make you take on a big, overwhelming project. It's just do the little things daily. What can I do today? Like me with my push-ups. I mean, Walter goes to the gym like 3 times a day, and I was like, well, I'm not going to do that, but I know I can do 100 push-ups a day. So as soon as I get out of bed, I do 105 push-ups. I just do it. And sometimes it sucks, but it's a little teeny habit, and it probably takes me less than 5 minutes to do it. So just Compound Effect is a great book. Don't be Brad, be Scott. I guess you could hang out in Larry's land for a little bit. Not our Larry, but Larry in the book. But yeah, Compound Effect, such a good book, and it'll motivate you. And it's a snowball effect. As you do little teeny habits, they build on each other, and then you do a couple of more, and you're on your way. And so it's a great book for success. That's what I got. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Thank you.
Let's give Michael Shine a big round of applause. He's the keeper of the books, the holistic attorney, the closer. I think Michael closed 2 condos for us this month, and he's got one more coming up. So we're closing condos. We're cash flowing. It's a beautiful time. I mentioned the guided meditation. So if you are driving, right now is a good time for you to keep your eyes on the road. do not listen to guided meditations or hypnosis while driving. It can be dangerous. If you're operating heavy machinery or holding a child, please make sure you keep your eyes open because you know how those things can get. So, guided meditation, the reason we use it is for accelerated learning that puts the things that you just learned into your brain in a way that stays there. I started using hypnosis for myself when I was 2015. I started using guided meditations and hypnosis to help myself increase sales, increase happiness, and increase the quality of life that I was having. It has had a profound effect. In the beginning, I did think it was a little hokey, the whole concept, and now it works. Also, the other one is affirmations. I did not believe in them, but I was reading the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, and he said, "Look, you're going to think it's hokey." I did too, but it works. So because it works, I started doing it, and I'm very happy to say that multimillionaire, but also through a great cause, through a great way. I'm really happy with the money that I've made and the people that I get to be around. So, guided meditation, we're going to jump into that. Before we do, I notice there's a handful of you wearing Alchemist Nation shirts and merchandise. So let's give Gio a round of applause. He's a VIP coming to the summit. We got Mitch Jorsky's got the Alchemist Nation shirt. We've got Victor Lopez, 100 Millionaires. Fantastic. We got Gary Aker. He's rocking the I think he's one of the few who's got the salesperson's shirt. What we call those coaches shirts now, Gary. What do you want to call that? That's the staff, the the life changers, alchemists. Let's give everybody who's wearing one of our brand a round of applause. Love seeing it. And we're going to go into guided meditation. But before we do, Dorina asked me to mention the summit one more time. So those of you who have not yet purchased a VIP ticket, but are looking to be VIPs, the link is summit.alchemistnation.com. There's only 40 slots, and many of those are already sold, and they're selling out. The reason people buy VIP, by the way, is not for the sweet lanyard that says VIP all over it. That is not the reason that people buy for VIP tickets. It is not the sweet swag that comes with it when you buy a VIP ticket. Obviously, it's not the shirts or the cups that come with these. It's not the manuals that you get to take all your notes in. Oh, look at Dorina's really used this one quite a bit. This is not the reason that a person buys the VIP tickets. It's not the lanyards. It's not the backpack, the sweet backpack that carries all the swag in it. This is not the reason that people buy VIP tickets. Although this backpack I do bring to the gym every day and I love it, but also not the reason for purchasing the VIP tickets. It's not sitting in the front, although they do get to sit in the front. They get to hang out with me all weekend. It's not the extra day before where we hang out and talk about leadership and scaling with the 40 members of the VIP and the speakers who fly in a little bit early to hang out with us and talk about scaling up and talk about sales and business and real estate and masterminds. It's not because Vinny Chopra will be flying in a little early to hang out with the VIPs on the 17th. It is because VIPs know something about themselves that other VIPs also know. It's that they are very important people who are going places. And so, very important people like to hang with very important people. And we've created some really good networking opportunities that are only available for the VIPs because it allows them to spend more time together, building and planning and preparing themselves to go and take on another year of activity. Show of hands if you understand, the VIPs are very important people, and that is why they spend a little extra to get to the summit. Summit tickets are currently $200, so do not skip out on the opportunity. If you don't have $200, please put your name in a bucket. We will pray for you. You got bigger problems, but the summit itself is very affordable. You can get there if it's the 3 days you're concerned about. The 80-20 rule, right? Think of the 80-20 of the 80-20, the 80-20. That means 1%. There's 365 days in a year. We're going to be together for 3.5 days. That's 1% of your year. It is likely the most important weekend of your life because in this weekend, you're surrounding yourself with all the players who are going to double their income this year. You're surrounding yourself with a business plan. We're going to go and put it together and we're networking. And we're going to have Vinny Chopra in the room teaching how to work with the Silver Tsunami, how to raise millions of dollars. He raised over $280 million with the strategy he's going to be sharing at the summit this year. So it's the 1% of your entire year that makes up your entire year. We talked about good habits. Coming together with Alchemization one time a year is the best, highest habit that I have found for myself. And I found it for a lot of people who built their partnerships and became millionaires from this one event. So that is coming up. It's October 18th to the 20th. The other thing that Dorina asked me to tell you is book your hotel now. Once you've registered, inside the registration email, you'll be given a hotel link. This hotel link is for our specialized price which is not what it's going to be at the end of once that hotel, whatever that is, ends. Then you end up paying full price, and this hotel always runs out. It always runs out a month in advance. So if you haven't booked your hotel yet and you haven't used our link, you're probably going to pay more. Here's how I know it's really smart to use our link. Vinny Chopra asks for it immediately. He's like, "Hey, send me your link to the hotel." Like it's the first thing he does. He's like, "Hey, send me your link to the hotel. I want to get in," because he does not want to be stuck on the wrong floor. He doesn't want to, he wants options when he buys. So we are on the second floor. So when you do book your hotel, your goal is to be as close to the second floor as humanly possible because that means less travel time and less distractions on your way to the event. So, fan, if that makes sense, I will be on the second floor. I always stay on the second floor. Makes it a lot easier for me just to come in and out of my room. Awesome. That is Dorina taken care of. And Fatimat just got the VIP ticket. Let's give her a big round of applause. I know Ryan James just bought his. I know a handful of you have already bought VIPs. I see the names come through. I can't wait to hang with you personally and spend that time. Now, guided meditation, we're diving into it. For some who are uncomfortable or driving, keep your eyes on the road. For those who are really going all deep on this, you can take a deep breath in and you can find yourself a comfortable place. If you got kids around, just imagine the kids aren't there for a moment, as long as it's safe to do so. If you do have to keep your eyes on the kids, then you can come back and watch this later. So begin by finding a quiet and comfortable space where you won't be disturbed. Sit or lie down in a relaxed position. Close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Some of you may want to take your camera off. You may want to mute your microphone. Filling your lungs completely. Hold it for a moment and then exhale slowly, letting go of any tension. Repeat this deep breathing 2 more times, allowing your body to become calm and recentered. Now, as you continue to deep breathe evenly, imagine a warm golden light surrounding you. This light represents your potential, your goals, and the positive changes you're about to make in your life. Allow yourself to be fully present in this moment, ready to embrace new habits that will lead to greater sales and income. Picture yourself in a successful business environment. See yourself confidently interacting with clients, partners, and team members. Visualize your business thriving with sales and income growing steadily. Notice the feeling of accomplishment and satisfaction that comes with this success. Now, mentally repeat the following affirmations, allowing each one to resonate deeply within you. I am focused on taking consistent actions that lead to increased sales and income. I embrace habits that contribute to my financial success. Every day, I am becoming more effective in my sales and marketing efforts. I attract opportunities that align with my goals and values. I am disciplined and proactive in my implementing strategies that boost my income. Now visualize yourself adopting the key habits that will drive your success. Setting clear goals. Picture yourself setting specific, achievable sales goals and breaking them into actionable steps. See yourself consistently taking daily actions that contribute to your goals, whether it's making calls, networking, or refining your marketing strategies. Imagine yourself regularly reviewing your progress and making adjustments as needed to stay on track. Visualize yourself seeking out new knowledge and skills to enhance your skills in sales and your techniques as a salesperson and your business acumen. See yourself acknowledging and celebrating your achievements, no matter how small, to stay motivated and focused. Understand that challenges are part of the journey. Picture yourself approaching obstacles with a positive mind, seeing them as opportunities to learn and grow. Embrace resilience and adaptability as you work towards your goals. Now, as you bring this guided meditation to an end, take a moment to appreciate the commitment you've made to adopting new positive habits. Trust in your ability to achieve your goals and increase your sales and income. Slowly bring your awareness back to the present moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes, stretch gently, and when you're ready, open your eyes, carrying the same sense of confidence and clarity with you. Remember, every step you take toward implementing these habits brings you closer to your vision of success. You can come back to this recording multiple times a day, multiple times a week, multiple times a month, and just listen to this little snippet until it becomes a part of you, until it's deeply ingrained inside of you that you are the greatest salesperson in the world, selling a great product to great people who fulfill your mission, fulfill your purpose. Let's give everybody on the call a big round of applause for showing up and taking the initiative to stay on during a guided meditation, guided hypnosis. My favorite part of Alchemist Nation is the Q&A. It is the education that I get from each of you. It is understanding your challenge a little bit deeper. The summit really is designed around your challenges. So as we're getting closer, we're 84 days out. As we get closer and closer to the summit, I'll be doing a lot more polling of each of you in the community, asking questions, finding out what your challenges are, finding out what your goals are, so that the speakers can be educated on exactly the talks that need to be there at the summit this year. Each one of you is relevant, and fortunately, each one of you is very, very similar. You're starting to get to a very similar place in my mind where I know for sure 10,000 passive income. By the way, show of hands, 10,000 passive income would be wonderful in the next 12 months. Excellent. So that's one we know for sure. Increasing active income by 5 to 10,000 a month. Show of hands if that's valuable to you as well. Increasing active income. Excellent. And some of you 10,000, 20,000 a month. We also know that we want to be able to step away from some of the work. We want to step away from activities that we aren't interested in doing. So we'll be talking about systems, management, leadership, culture, the things that allow you to step away from where you're at. So I just want to thank each of you who has jumped on a call with me or one of our team members. If you jumped on with anybody in our team, they are taking notes of you and where you are and where you want to go. So we're doing a much better job this year of clearly documenting each of you as members of the direction you'd like to take. So give yourselves a round of applause for all of your information that you've given us so that we can leverage it into helping more people. As we scale up the millionaire building process, the financial freedom building process, I want to share with you a reminder. The goal is to automate it. The goal has always been to automate the financial freedom process, to automate the millionaire building process. It's always been our goal is to automate the process. We do recognize that there's a human component to this. Who here likes talking to people about their problems specifically and getting specific answers? So we've been working on helping our local leaders to be more of a coach role to help and bring them through. So we're bringing our coaches, our local leaders, and bringing them through a training so they can be very specifically attuned to helping you in your local needs. And we're giving them a channel where they can push back to us if somebody runs into something that they're not familiar with, so they can push back to us and kind of develop that. So let's give all of our local leaders on the call a big round of applause for all the work they're doing with their personal development, leveling themselves up. Our dream managers who are managing our leaders, let's give them a big round of applause for all the development they're doing. So let's open it up to Q&A or a share. If you know somebody who has implemented the best habits in the world, then share those. Or if there's a habit that we missed today, let's share that habit that has helped lead to your success or somebody's success around you.
Yeah. Hey, Walter, I actually want to give you credit because about a year ago you said you were going to do leg day every day, and because you said you had little teeny scrawny legs,
I did.
you don't want to be that guy. And I watched you for over a year do it every day, so it was very impressive. And that's so yeah, got to give some credit to Walter for that one. Give him a big round of applause. Leg day for a year. Woo!
I saw Walter at the gym the other day doing some calf raises.
Voice.
Give Ryan James a round of applause. It's true. If you if you're in a Florida gym that I'm in, I am doing leg day every day still. It's been 400 days or 500 days. We haven't stopped. It's been amazing. And when I started, Ryan, so you know now, when I started leg day, 19-inch legs. So my legs were actually smaller than Darina's legs. Like that was the actual situation that inspired leg day. And thank you, Mike, for acknowledging because it not only was important for my ego to have slightly larger legs than my girlfriend, but also my back pain went away within 6 weeks. So I had chronic back pain in my lower back for months and months and years. And as soon as I started leg day, I started noticing a change. But 6 weeks later, like I have no back pain whatsoever. And it's been absolutely amazing that leg day has had that profound effect on me. So let's give Michael Shine a round of applause for being an inspiration in my life and motivating me to keep doing things. By the way, the stats now, 26 and a half inches. So now I need new pants. Because the pants don't fit quite the same as they used to. Go ahead, Roland.
Yeah, so I think one of the habits that I have that's been successful for me is delegating. And I say this often, I delegate going to the bathroom if I could, but as the president of the National Association of Residential Property Managers for Tampa, because I was able to delegate a lot of the tasks that needed to be done, we were able to improve our membership. We were able to improve a lot of the different areas. And because of that, I was just voted in to be the president for the state chapter of the National Association of Residential Property Managers. So I'm president-elect in 2025, and in 2026, I'm going to be running the whole state chapter of the National Association of Residential Property Managers. So delegate, delegate, delegate.
Give Roland Charles a round of applause. I've seen him help more investors connect with property managers, get the right education, get the right information, than any property manager ever in the history of property managers. He's just absolutely an abundance mindset. He wrote a great book on how to level up your game, the Zen Investor. If you haven't read it yet, Roland really is one of a kind when it comes to property management. Let's keep it going. Go ahead, Michael.
Um, Really cool habit that I have and that Billy Reuter has. It's a pretty easy one. We constantly speak positively about our wives. We constantly talk all the time about how much we absolutely adore our wives. And I just think that it makes it the relationship is much, much better because of it. I see Billy posting all the time. I just think it's a great habit to get into. Whoever your spouse or your partner is, just speak positively about them. It's easy to do. You're with them. So that's my advice.
A good habit. Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. Michael, 24 years together, 25 years.
24, 24, 25 together, married for 24.
There it is. 5 kids. Not bad. Not bad. Those are rookie numbers, right, Gary? What do you got? What do you and Mary Lynn got?
Not rookie.
9 kids and 6 grandkids with one more on the way.
And how long have you been
September,
married?
34 years.
34 years. Give Gary Aker a round of applause. Well done, brother. Well done. And the question
When
that I've
Gary said
heard,
9 kids before, I thought he was just like using it because saying that number because he had a lot of kids. I didn't realize he actually had 9 kids. I thought
We
just because he had like 4 or 5 and he was saying, I got 9 kids because he has a lot of kids.
we were out with Pace Morby one night and we were talking to him and I was like, yeah, Gary has 9 kids. And Pace was like, wait, does he actually have 9 kids? And I was like, yeah, actually has 9 children. Him and his wife have been married 34 years. And Gary's answer every time is hilarious. He's like, we didn't have a lot to do. We didn't have a lot of hobbies. Yeah, 9 children. And it's amazing because he had to learn leadership at the house. He had to learn leadership in his career. And he's obviously a great leader here in Alchemist Station. So let's give Gary Aker a round of applause. Ryan, you're not the only one who, when I say 9, people are like, yeah, right. But yeah. So, Mike, catch up. Just catch up. Go ahead, Gio. And
Well, I
before
just want to
everybody who's jumping off, before if you are jumping off and you got to go attack your weekend, just go in with one of the smallest habits that you possibly can. One of the things you wrote down, one of the small things that you wrote down that could be a game changer for you. Just attack that one. Whatever the smallest one is, just attack it immediately as soon as you get off the phone or as soon as you jump off this call, just so you can get yourself a win. Any kind of win, it would be awesome. And then throughout the week, just line up the ones that you absolutely will do. If I can pitch an idea to you, if I can sell you on a concept, make it the 10 calls per day. 10 highly leveraged calls per day will absolutely change your life. 10 highly leveraged, I'll say this one more time, 10 highly leveraged calls per day will absolutely change your life. 10 highly leveraged texts per day with people you already have a relationship with will change your life. So go out, sell, take advantage of the world. And if this was a valuable training for you, share this training to your feed and or to a group that is in alignment with Optimization's mission to build more millionaires. Go ahead, Gio.
Well, I just want to kind of give some kudos for a couple people, definitely for Billy. His wife, Danielle, is a wonderful lady, beautiful lady, vibrant, phenomenal. And my man, Gary, I got to meet him, and Marilyn, his wife. They're phenomenal people. And I'm right there, brother. I am 33 years married, my man. So I'm right there with you. So we know how that goes, brother. But
So Gio,
I haven't had a chance to meet Darina, but she is beautiful when we message everything else. So I'm telling you right here in front of everybody, I'm looking to go meet her and give her a big hug, man. I gotta say that.
give Gio a round of applause. Gio is one of those people who Dorina is on top of because he's part of our leadership team. So she's like sending messages, texting, checking in. There is something to that woman that is just unreal. And I pray this for everybody who's single or who's got a spouse already. I pray that you and your partner find that sweet spot of like how you can leverage each other to grow your mission. And for Dorina, it has been putting me on calls with the right people. She's just moving the chessboard, moving the pieces behind the scenes. Like I don't get on a call without her approving it. I don't get on, my calendar doesn't exist without her making it exist. If she put nothing on my calendar in a week, one, I would be shocked because she loves me with a booked up calendar. But if she doesn't put something there, it's for a reason. And if she does put something there, it's for a reason. So changed my life, like having her in control of my calendar. Go ahead, Mike.
Well, I just want to say if there are people on the call who don't have a significant other, I got a great habit for you. Take out a piece of paper and write exactly who you want as your significant other. That would be the habit. Write it, read it 10 times in the morning, read it 10 times at night. Prepare your bed. Like if you're looking for someone, don't sleep in the middle of your bed, sleep to the side. If you have a two-car garage, put your car off to the right in the middle. That's all is that in the game of life?
That's a secret. Oh, yeah, that's the secret and the game of life.
But yeah, prepare your space for that person to come in and read about it and write about it and suddenly that person will show up. So yeah, it's awesome.
Let's give Michael Shine a round of applause. That is a great share. It's just we're on the relationship thing, and we talked about Dorina. She nailed this. She wrote down on a piece of paper the exact type of partner she wanted to find. She wanted the perfect man, like her version of the perfect man. Basically, she described me. Not kidding. That's exactly what she described, but it wasn't my name. I know, Jen. I'm not perfect for everybody. Certainly perfect for Dorina. I looked at the paper and I was like, damn, that's me. All my flaws right there. So she chose, she said, this is the person I want to be with, the type of person I want to be with. And then here's where she just launched into the future. She said, who do I have to become to attract this man? And she looked at herself, said, do I have these qualities that I'm seeking in this man? And anything she couldn't say yes to, she went and started working on. And when she told me that, I said, wow, because that's the quality I was looking for. That ability to adjust yourself to the world with which you want to create. What is, I've told this many times, the most attractive trait you have is that you can set a target and change yourself to get there. Man, that's powerful. Man, that's all I wanted to be around. And it's all I to this day, it's the only type of people I want to be around. The people who can look at a target and say, who do I have to become to have that life? And those are the people who get what they want. And Dorina has that gift. Now, I followed the Mike Shine strategy, and I said, who do I have to become to attract a woman who wants to protect my money, who wants to build assets, who wants to acquire? I did that mental work to believe that that woman existed. All right. So I think for men, we have a slightly different challenge. We got to believe that a woman of that quality exists, a woman, because the world says otherwise, right? And I did what Mike said. I slept on one side of the bed. I even bought an extra set of dressers for my house. I moved all my clothes from my walk-in closet to one side. I set up racks on the other side so that I had, two sides to the closet. I set up an office, an extra office, because I wanted a girl who hustled, who had business, had a business mind. So I set her up an office. And when Dorina came over, the first night she came over, she stayed the whole weekend. On her way out, she's like, "Hey, I got to go up to Boston and close some deals." I gave her the key. I was like, "Come back anytime." From that day forward, it's been side by side. But it was COVID, like right in the beginning of COVID, and she has not spent a night without me except for on vacation or traveling. But that has been, yeah, the best tip that I can give to somebody is write down who you want to be around and who you have to become to spend time with that person. And that is also capital raising 101.
By the way, it also works with pets. You can you can write down, we wrote down exactly the dog that we wanted, like Brenda to the T, and we ended up getting Luna, which is exactly that dog. So you can do it with pets too.
You could do it with pets, you could do it with your spouse. Here's one. You could do it with capital. If you want to surround yourself with high net worth individuals, you just say, hey, these are the high net worth, this is the income level, this is the career, this is the way they make their money, this is the type of investments they want to be in. Who do I have to be to spend my time with that type of individual? Who do I have to become to be the person that those people are attracted to, who want to spend the time with me? Who do I have to become to get to that level? For those of you who want to find more deals, more motivated sellers, who do I have to be to spend time with people who own 200, 300, 400 units and want to get rid of it? Who do I have to be for them to seek me out? What do I have to do in order to be seen in front of that group? And then what message or image or time do I have to spend or way do I have to spend that time in order for them to say, man, I want to spend more time with you? Joe, thanks for catching this. It works in all aspects. This is marketing, branding 101. Take your avatar, find out where they spend their time, how do you get in front of them, who do you have to be when you get in front of them, what do you have to say, and do your very best to be genuine. Do your very best to change yourself to be that person, not to fake it. Authenticity with capital raising is so important. You can get the money right away, but keep it really hard if you're not authentic. Really, really hard and totally not worth it.
Part of that is, we always say this, but assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. So you assume that you already have that capital partner. And how would you feel if someone said, yeah, I'd like to give you $1 million to invest and be in that space where you already have it, not in the space of wanting it in the future. So assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. That's Neville Goddard. If you need someone to read, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Dorina is reading Neville Goddard right now. She's reading, what was the book you were reading, Dorina?
The Law and the Promise.
Yeah, it's one of Mike's favorites.
My favorite.
Well, that's why, yeah, it came from mine. So it's the third time I'm reading it, actually.
So we'll stick around for a few more questions. I got Gary Akers coming over today. We are going to really map out the summit very tangibly based on a lot of the feedback we've been getting. We're going to map out the types of talks we want had, and then we're going to start talking to our 8 speakers and seeing who can deliver that. And we have 3 panels. I think it's officially 3 or 4 panels of speakers that we're going to be bringing in who are very specialized. So one of the panels is our leaders, local leaders who have running the best leadership, best events, most of attendees, most recurring attendees, most people who have jumped into some form of program and really had that transformation. We're going to be, there's a panel of our dream managers. So there's the business consultants, high level business consultants who are pouring into our local leaders. There is a panel for our mastermind members. So our mastermind members who've done the biggest, coolest deals, no pressure, mastermind members, but that is a panel that we're putting together so that we can hear and see and they can share their stories in front of the 400 people who will be at the summit this year. And the other panel remains a mystery. So I will find out from Gary today if that panel will be in existence and what that panel will look like. So go ahead with questions.
So I've got a pretty good share.
And then Tashin, you got Billy Reuter right after you. Go ahead, Tashin.
So pretty good share based off of some of the stuff we talked about in the mastermind was me really finding more New York State investors to be able to do more deals. So I've been working on that. And in the process of working on that, we came across pretty much the four largest wholesalers in my market. We all had a call together, and we are actually meeting this Monday to look at how we can collaborate together and do deals because we were actually working on getting a deal under contract. We originally had it under contract at about 80,000, and between combating with different wholesalers, the price got ran up to 120,000 from 80,000, and we were able to leverage that to show there's really no reason for us to be in competition with each other because we just, drew this up for an additional $40,000, and most of the other wholesalers didn't understand creative, so we were able to offer that for the deals that don't make sense on the wholesale side. So now we're all meeting together to come up with something and see how we can collaborate Monday, leveraging all of our different buyers. And outside of that, one of the wholesalers heard about the deal that I was going to assign, and they were like, well, instead of you assigning it, there's a lot more money to be made in the deal. We are already in New York State, so we are willing to lend you the money to reinstate the mortgage so that we can both make about a $40,000 profit. So I was able to figure that out and focused on one of the things that I've been ignoring on the physical side with my disability, which is doing what I need to do necessarily with therapy because of crappy insurance. But I
Hey,
spoke
Tasheen, what can we hold you accountable to?
so you can hold me accountable to as soon as I close this $40,000 deal, I am going to be paying $10,000 for therapy for the year. And the doctors have stated that they believe that if I go to therapy for 4 days a week for an entire year, that I will be able to graduate all assistive devices and be able to walk without assistive devices.
Give Tasheen a round of applause. Tasheen is worth 10,000 all day. All day. We every one of us wants to see you pushing, brother. I'll continue another leg day, bro. I'll continue a year of leg days with you, Tasheen. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's get it. Absolutely beautiful. I love that, brother. And congratulations on finding a lender in New York, right? What the same advice we gave you on the mastermind. What, that was Monday we gave that to you? And
Correct.
you just implemented it within just a handful of days. Fantastic, brother. Fantastic. Let's give Tasheen a round of applause. He gets it done.
Holy
Gets it
crap, the
done.
mastermind's not just helping heal people financially. Now we're actually healing people physically. Holy
Yes.
cow. Great share, Tashin.
That's
Thank you.
cool.
Thank you.
Billy Reuter, you're up.
What's up, brothers and sisters? Real quick, obviously we're at the end of this, but there was a couple things that showed up, which I think would be useful, and this really lands for this lesson that Walter mentioned. We're all entrepreneurs, and the way we have our checklist is income. Money is so important. I know the whole idea of the summit this year is income generation, net worth building, which is so important. But like Walter said, you can't ignore the other aspects, right? So one thing that I've been working through and teaching, it's the harmony between outcomes and experience, because outcomes are tactical. We can build our wealth. We can earn an extra 10K a month, 50K a month, whatever your personal vision is. But what is your life experience doing that? Right. So having that checks and balance is really understanding that you can still achieve a wild outcome while sacrificing your life experience, like Walter mentioned before. So just a helpful hint that you are your own nucleus, right? Like always put yourself in this beautiful filter of what is my experience now? Am I stressed out? Am I ignoring my health? Is my marriage going to shit because I'm just hustling and grinding, but my balance sheet looks good, but my wife is upset at me? Learning how to integrate all of this is truly the key. And two things I want to share as well that are really helpful that anchor in the compound effect that Michael had talked about. It's a mantra. Write it down, take it if it serves you, right? But it's something that I've used for many, many years and has really, really served me well. Your daily decisions determine your destiny, right? As ambitious entrepreneurs, we're very future focused, which is excellent, right? Anybody that's worked with me here, my dream managers, right? You know that we're talking about that vision always. What are we doing? Where are we going? But you create a vision by what you do today, right? So when you remember that your daily decisions determine your destiny, your future is really being created by today. And for my woo-woo fellow people like my Michael Shine, right? A new one I've been working on. So take it if it serves you. When you master the micro, you manifest the macro, right? So we have macro visions, we have big dreams, right? Geo was at my last summit when I said that on stage, right? Guys, it works. We have big things. 100 millionaires is a big idea. $1 million net worth. You have to master the micro to manifest the macro. Choose the Apple over the Oreo, right? Choose submitting bids over Netflix sometimes. So understanding how this works will add massive value to your life. Love you all. Thank
Give
you.
Billy Reuter a round of applause. He'll be speaking at the summit. I don't know if we'll get into the 9 pillars, but is it possible? We'll certainly be talking about the trifecta at the summit. We will see. Me and Gary are literally going to sit down today and talk about what talks need to happen and who can leverage them best. Mitch Jorsky will be at the summit as well. I'm torn between teaching how he made his business partner financially free, his best friend, how he made his business partner financially free, or how he decided to dive back into real estate, like shifted back and forth between crypto and these other businesses, a coaching program, and all this other stuff, and just ended up focusing on the one thing that's made him all the money over the years. I'm kind of torn on which of those, or maybe it just be encompassing like, hey, case study, case study. Here's the deals I've done, and here's why we did them that way. Show fans if you're excited for the talks at the summit. We're going to be talking about a lot of that today. I'm very excited about it. It's to me, this is the best event of the year, and it has to be, right? Because we're all flying in, we're all going to be there. We've got to walk away with the best plan possible for what's coming, and the training and education we're bringing, and also the market education of like what's happening right now, where Vinny's putting his money, is going to change the game for everybody at the summit. Where this billionaire is putting all of his funds, all of his time, all of his energy. Is going to blow your mind, and the tools and resources you're going to have when you walk away from it is bar none. You said something, Billy, about relationship with your spouse and like energy. And Richie Decker, I was on a call with him this week, and Mitch, by the way, I do want to quote from you, and I want to hear why you specifically changed and shifted to just working on real estate with your partner. I do, if you could just for a second unmute and do that. But Richie this week, he shared he wants to spend more time focused on his business during the day, his coaching business, helping people, transforming lives, doing the building millionaires, building financial freedom, helping people get their income. And he said, I want to end it midday. So at the end of the day, so I can spend the nights with my kids. I want to spend nights with my son, my daughter, and I want to listen to my wife. And when he said that sentence, I wrote that down on my mind. I said, man, like that's really all your wife wants is listen to my wife. Because, and by the way, Rich, I just want to share with you, I did that last night. I just asked Doreen a few things, and her eyes were just like, and she was had a very, very happy night. She was a very, very happy person. So let's give Richie Decker a round of applause. Give me some wonderful, wonderful advice just by being yourself, brother, just by telling me your goals and what you proactively were looking to do. And I know because Billy did tell me that Richie did tell me that Billy, some of his work that he's been going through has been coming from you. So thank you, brother, for the time you're pouring into everybody. Mitch Jorsky, go ahead.
Yes, sir. Um, so yeah, what are you about just kind of like getting refocused?
Actually, before Mitch Dorsey goes, I want to just give everybody on the call who just joined to the mastermind a big round of applause. Carla Paula is here. Lauren is here. We've got Larry Jones is here. Laura Swartley. We've had quite a few of you jump in. Ryan James a few weeks ago. Lamar Pinkett, there he is. Just jumping the mastermind. Let's give all these guys a big round of applause. Gio, a little while ago, but still, Gio, you're no longer the newest member. You passed that along. Go ahead, Mitch.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like life sometimes, forces your hand a little bit, or I shouldn't say that. It's more so just like whatever mindset, frustration. And I think I got to a point of frustration with how the prior year progressed, so to speak. I felt like I was just spinning my wheels. So, there's that saying like how you do anything, what is it? How you do anything is how you do everything. Well, I think the flip side is if you try and do everything, you essentially do nothing. So, um, I'm a man of many interests. Maybe it's the ADHD, I don't know, but I always seem to have my hands in like four or five different things at the same time. It's what keeps me engaged. But um, you limit the progress you can have when you're doing that. And the reality is, and I've known this a long time ago because, my mentor slash friend, Pete, who you know, he talked about that a long time ago. Where it's like, you can't do more than two things. He's like, I've tried it. You've tried it. He's like, if you're trying to do three, four things, he's like, two is the most, and ideally one is best. Right. So, I kind of just like fell back on that. And I'm like, all right, well, what's going to be my main two things for 2024? And it's like, well, real estate wise, I have some things that, are lining up where I can really leverage them. And then, crypto is just always going to be a thing for me. And, we were quasi having a bull market. So I'm like, that's my focus. And it's just like tough because it took away from things in terms of like, I love coaching, I love teaching, I love helping, but it's just like, I got to give less of myself away for a little while, so to speak, and just be focused and in tune on, one or two things. So, um, I literally created a game plan in December with my business partner in regards to real estate, for at least for my Massachusetts stuff. And when I say like almost to the T, like it's coming together exactly pretty much as I planned out. And it's going to be an awesome year real estate wise. It'll be our best year yet, at least, in that partnership. And it's given me a sense of peace, honestly, just to be productive and focused. So, yeah, if you're feeling overwhelmed and you feel like you're spinning your wheels, take a look at how many things you're doing, what it is you're doing, and decide if you can kind of refocus on less things. And I think, this is a long chatting going back to, Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, right? Just ask yourself that question. What is the one thing I can do right now of which will, make all the other things non-important or, not an issue. So um, I guess that was a kind of story ramble about that process.
And that
So
was
yeah.
such a botched quote of that
Oh, I
quote.
totally botched the quote, but everyone knows the quote that I know that I could just paraphrase, you know. At least when I do my hip hop quotes and I paraphrase, no one knows because most of the people don't know the quotes. I can get away with it, especially with Walter, since he's like, "What hip hop? What's that? Give me a guitar."
Sounds like something 50 Cent said. Yeah.
Which
I'm pretty sure
sidebar,
Wu-Tang
50
said that.
Cent's book is really good.
Yeah, his book with Robert Greene.
Well, that one's probably solid too, but no, his solo book, Hustle Smarter, Hustle Harder, Hustle Smarter, really good book. And it's like, it's a quasi biography, but a lot of lessons in there
It
business
is.
wise.
Yeah, that's a great book. Yeah.
Yeah,
Give
such a good
Mitch
book.
Jorsky a round of applause.
Appreciate it.
Jaworski is the author of the book, Scaredy Cat Guide to Real Estate Investing, and been part of our community at Alchemist Station for the last 5 years, one of our local leaders. He's built with me 31 millionaires, along with Michael Shine, over the last 5 years working together. And it's just been one of the greatest relationships that you can imagine, right? We work together, we play together, we build and help people together. And Mitch has
It's not
taken
work.
some time off, but it's a lot of work.
Well, hold on though. The reason it's not work is because I work with my friends doing things I enjoy. So at the end of the day, it's what's that meme that's been going around? With the little song and it says, I'm always on vacation because I love my occupation. So
Let's give Mitch Chorsky a round of applause. I love that. Now, for those of you who know, last year I convinced Mitch to run the mentorship program one time, and he crushed it. It was absolutely amazing. It was awesome to see Mitch again back in the game, doing what he does best. He's an amazing, amazing coach, amazing trainer, and to have him jump in with us on the 52 weeks of wealth every Saturday is just a blessing. Before I was grinding his ass so hard, like every single week, he was on like 3, 4 calls. So he's taken a lot of like a step back, but he's still contributing. And same with Michael Shine, still contributing, still here. So let's give these guys a big round of applause. A lot of work. But like they said, like I said, we're playing, we're having fun with each other. We love doing what we do. We love helping. We couldn't imagine doing this, not doing this. It's like I wouldn't know what to do on my Saturdays if I didn't have each of you to jump on and level up your goals. So thank you mostly for your success, what you're looking towards. We'll take one more question or one more share before we jump. But this is Saturday morning, right? This is the time to go leverage everything that you are and put out into the world, make the changes that you need to make. I don't want you to go in the gym and try to do a leg day where you're pushed to maximum weight today, but I do want you to go in there and find out where the leg equipment is. All right, just map out the place. Get in there and just do a squat with no weight on the bar. Like just something so you can get yourself a little habit. And if you're gonna do, that's how I start. My leg day started with me going up to the squat rack and saying, I don't fucking know what I'm doing here. Looking over at all the guys lifting 300, 400 pounds and just saying, I'll do the bar today and look like a little bitch, but tomorrow I'll be back and I'll do the same thing until and I could not, guys, I could not lift my own body weight on a squat when I started. It was the bar. I was doing 45 pounds. That's all I could do. When I got to be able to lift Dorina, when I got to be able to lift 135 pounds, that's all I could think of. My first goal was be able to pick up my girlfriend. Like that was my first goal was get to 135 pounds. And so every time I walk into the gym, I think like I found out my dad's weight the other day. I was like, fuck. I set the target. I was like, I got to be able to lift, 225 pounds consistently in case ever a situation occurs. Like, so however you set your goals and your targets for life, put them out there as like, okay, what's the first step, right? If the first step is just, I got to go into the gym and know how to get to that next level, cool. I've been blessed in my leg day journey. I've had people fly in from all over the country to show me how to lift better because they don't like my videos. They think my form is shit. So I've been blessed to show people my failures and my flaws. And I've had people fly in and like specialists show me how to squat properly. So what my suggestion to you is be imperfect with your habits. Be starting things small. Please do it publicly. Let people know what your goals are. And so you start getting that support in your life. You start allowing people in. My biggest failure when I went through the divorce was I was trying to hide everything. And I pushed away so much potential help. When I finally said, look, I'm imperfect, but I'm still pushing. I'm struggling and I'm getting better every day. Man, my social media one went up because I had more people, more interest. Because you know what? I wasn't the only one suffering. And also, I wasn't the only one who had one day would be through it. There were people already who had been through it who were pouring back into me, who were saying, like, bro, like I've been there. Let's go work out together. Like I've been there. Let's go out and do some sales together. I've been there. Let me show you how this real estate thing works. There's a lot of people who were there for me during that time who some of you don't even know you were. But I appreciate, the pouring in of my improvement and for each of you who supports us in Alchemy Station, who likes and shares and comments on my posts. So I wouldn't post if it wasn't for the likes and shares and comments. But I do get a lot of response and I get a lot of fun and enjoyment out of seeing your interactions with my thoughts and opinions. And so we're clear, a lot of what I post is just my thoughts and opinions. So if it does offend you, I don't know. Some of the things I do offend Arena, but that's also why she's with me. It's who I am. And so for each of you, as you're being your authentic self, you're gonna offend a few people. That's okay. The right people will still love you anyway. The right people are still gonna be there growing your business with you anyway. So the strong suggestion as you go out there is just have some fucking fun, building new habits, find the game in it, find the peace and the solace in it. When I drive my Toyota Corolla, it's been paid off for the last 8 years. I'll tell you what, I feel like a little fucking boss. I'm like, I see my buddies with their Ferraris or their Porsches or the Lambos, and like I feel like such a pimp because I have this dr paid off vehicles. I'm driving around paid off. I can't tell you like that's who I am. So each of you have a thing. Each of you have something that's gonna bother others and make you feel special. So do it. Go ahead, Mitch, and then Liz, and
You
Mm.
then
just
we're gonna
you
jump.
made a sick point that I wanted to add to just because I read some yesterday. It was from Rick Rubin, who is a legendary music producer, mainly in the hip hop industry. Been doing it for I don't know 30 plus 40 years. Anyone knows him when they see him because he's got this crazy gray beard and this crazy gray hair. Um, but he talked about mainly making music and just the creative process, and he basically said he's just like if you're making something that like everyone kind of likes, you haven't made anything. He's just like, you really make something that stays with people when there's some people that hate it and some people that love it, right? So, because everyone's always so afraid sometimes of pushing the envelope or breaking something or, whatever. They want people to like them. But that's not where greatness lies. And I mean, case in point, look at like an Elon Musk, right? People love him or hate him, right? And so on and so forth. So, um, don't be afraid to, stretch your creativity and just, stretch what you're trying to do based on what you think others will think. So, and Walter's, I think, trying to embrace that and be an example of that because I see some of the shit he posts on Facebook over the last year, and I'm just like, oh, he's just trying to start some stuff, isn't he?
Of
But
real.
no such thing as bad publicity, I guess. So good on you, brother.
Thank you, Mitch. I'll be want to be clear. I'm not trying to start some stuff. I'm just not worried about what people will say when I say what
Yeah,
I
yeah, you're
feel.
being authentic. You're sharing a question or a thought, and whether it's controversial or not doesn't matter.
Yeah. Let's give Mitch Jorsky a round of applause. And I want to share it's not being controversial, it's just being authentic to where you want to stand. Right? Post the things like if you feel like, man, I really want to stand here and I think other people and I want to qualify this. I really want to stand here and I want to hang with other people who want to stand here. That's why I post the way I post. I'm like, this I feel good about, but it's not just me feeling that way. I feel like I really want to attract more people who feel this way, which is why I put it out in a public space. Like, this is the sort of people I want to be around. So you can use social media as a magnet to the people you want to spend time with and a deflector. It's a magnet, right? Just it's going to polarize the wrong people. It's going to polarize the right people. And so use your posts, use your social media platform, whichever one is yours, as a way to say, like Victor Lopez, like I'm doing this, right? I'm going here. I'm building 100 millionaires. I care about other people. Like that's posts that you can make that are you, and it's going to attract people just like you. Go ahead, Liz. We got to jump off real quick, real soon, because Gary's got to get some food, and he's going to come over here, and we're going to mash this up for the summit. Go ahead, Liz.
I was very embarrassed about saying this until you mentioned that how you were embarrassed about mentioning the fact that until about your divorce and you didn't know, you know, to ask for help uh until that. So I want to share the same thing that I shared with you. Um, I was at a state of panic because I don't know if any a lot of some of you I've shared this with, but my daughter was taken away back in March because we live in an RV. And Tim was just approved for a mortgage, so now we can finally start looking at a HUD home. And it also brings us to the fact that my mortgage guy has just told us, hey, don't throw away your RV, just make it into your first ever window.
Turn it into a rental. Give Liz Hennessy a round of applause. Any parent on the call knows the pain or can imagine or visualize what the pain might be if your child was taken away because of a different person's opinion of your quality of life, of the way you chose to live your life. So I know I can't say I know the feeling, but I can only imagine the hell I would create in this world if anything ever tried to come between me and my child. So and that's me as a new parent. I could see the intensity in the eyes of the current parents who've been doing this for a long time. They've gotten used to protecting their children and making sure that their children always get to come home safe. So, Liz, all of us are our thoughts with you as you work to get your child back and get your daughter back where she belongs. So let's give Liz Hennessy a big round of applause. Her and her husband are working very hard. I've met them. I've spent time with them. We're blessed to have her on our team, helping people get with the coaches, helping people get with strategy sessions. And one of the things I told her is, you help more people, we're going to pay you very, very well. So if money is a challenge, she's going to be making $2,000 to $4,000 every time somebody comes into the mastermind this year. So yeah, it's one of our personal products to watch her succeed and see her do well. So if she calls you, please treat her well and treat her with respect. She's a mom, looking to take care of her child. So. Uh, Wow, I couldn't end this call in a better way. To all the parents out there, love you guys. Remember, you're raising the next generation. Anything you learn here, live it, breathe it. Don't try to teach it to your kids because they won't learn it that way. They will only learn it from what you do. So be the best example. How you do anything is how you do everything. Show them how you want them to live. Be that person, and they will unquestionably create that. I've watched it in Ryan and his kids. I've watched it in Billy and his kids, Gary and his kids. I've seen it in Michael Shine and his kids. I have seen it in Mark and his kids. Um, I haven't met Roland's child yet. I've seen it in Victor Lopez. Holy shit. I got to see Victor Lopez and his son at the summit last year. So Victor's 80 years old. His son's in his 50s. So I actually got to see it there, how that has manifested. And Ron Bowling and his daughters, it's super cool to see uh, how a person literally passes on their best qualities to their children. It's absolutely amazing to watch. And I know it's not from tactical training, it's from you being who you are. So cheers to your success when you have a choice. Always work with the best. I'll see you next week. For those who want the 27 ways to buy real estate with no money down, creative financing, the link is workwithinvestors.com. or agent.alchemistnation.com. Agents, that's plural. I'll drop it in the chat. Agents.alchemistnation.com or workwithinvestors.com, depending on which one works for you. Will it be dependent upon which browser you use? For some reason, Chrome is a challenge with workwithinvestors.com. But agents.alchemiststation.com works. Why is it on that training? Well, because I was training agents and they all said I could close more deals if my investors knew creative financing better, if I understood creative financing better. Show of hands if you'd love your agents to negotiate creative financing deals for you so you don't have to bring any money down. All right. So if you know an agent, you know a real estate agent, invite them to workwithinvestors.com. This week only, I'll be teaching the 27 creative strategies to bring no money down to a deal. That being said, yeah, if you're going to reach out to 10 people today, make those 10 people real estate agents who you think could bring you deals in the market that you want to work with, and text them and say, hey, I really would like you to learn 27 ways for creative financing real estate deals. And then send them that link. If they show up, you might be onto something. If they don't, well, now you know they suck. Cheers to your success. We have a choice. I always work with the best. I'll see you next week, and I'll see you Wednesday.